Hey guys, what did I say? Lions, you showed up. They don't lose back-to-back games. It just does not happen. And Cowboys, oh boy. Yeah, that defense came back. Really came back, I guess. Let's get this thing going.
The Detroit Lions playing for an NFC championship.
Dallas Cowboys are the champions.
And that drive culminates to try to tie the game. And Aubrey's kick this time is good. Through the middle. Gibbs into the end zone for a Lions touchdown. Here comes the field goal unit. Aubrey, that's close. Head coaching position as Prescott retreats. Prescott going deep, has a man. It's C.D. Lamb. Prescott dancing, throws, that's caught. To the outside goes Ferguson. Ball is out. The ball is out, and the Lions look like they're on top. This is gigantic. 2nd and 10. Montgomery breaking tackles. Inside the 10, he goes to the end zone for the touchdown. From 55. And that one is inside the left foot. And Bates sends it down. And explosive plays, 4 of them for 25 yards or more. Meanwhile, it's deflected, intercepted by the Lions. To the end zone, open touchdown. Isaac to slow. Pressure of his back foot, throws, and that is hauled in, but a flag is thrown. That's Lamb. Prescott fires, and that's going to be taken for a first goal. Give it to him, and into the end zone he goes. Ball is down. Ball is off to the left, and it was the foot of Prescott. Now you got a 63-yard attempt by Brandon Aubrey, and this kick is
Concussion.
2nd and 5. Prescott throwing.
Wait.
2nd down and 7. Gibbs. He can only bottle him up so long. Touchdown. Ryan Anker puts it down. 4 field goals to the back. Give it to him to the outside. Blocking. And into the end zone he goes. Here's the 4th and 10. Can the Cowboys stay alive? And they can, as the catch is made. Prescott dancing, fires over the middle, and that is going picked off.
And with that, what is going on, guys? Welcome back to the Fun NFL. Please like and subscribe. I hope you guys did have some sort of enjoyment with the Cowboys losing this game pretty handily to the Lions, as their offense went absolutely berserk in this game, putting up 40 or more points for the 3rd time this season. That ties for the most in the NFL so far this season with 40-point games. Again, I can only think of, no, I can think of all 3 of them. But again, 2 of them have been at home against teams that, again, at least at this point in the season, have had solid records. Obviously, this game against the Cowboys was fueled by, again, a CeeDee Lamb injury and a lot of other things. But again, the fact they were able to get in front early and they did not, again, relinquish that lead at all. And again, they made the Cowboys settle for a lot of field goals, was the reason they won this game by, again, 2 touchdowns and were able to put up so many points. But for the Lions, they moved to 8-5. They have now won 15 straight games, as tied for the most all time. Again, with wins out following a loss, they have not lost a back-to-back games since, again, 2022. That, again, probably will continue. Next week, though, they have a monster game in LA, again, at SoFi for that game. Again, realistically, they're not going to be in the playoff picture after this week, if I had to guess. Maybe. No, they can't be, because the freaking Bears. But they have the Rams next week in what will be a game that I think will clinch. I won't clinch the Lions' playoff spot again, but for the Rams, they could clinch the Rams' playoff spot, and obviously for the Lions, that would go a long way to helping them get in. But again, nonetheless, for them, this was about as big of a win as you could have asked for this season. But again, next week will be just as important for them. But again, this was an absolutely huge win for them, and again, they showed up like they needed to. Cowboys, they're now back to 500 at 6-6-1. This is the defense that we've seen many weeks. Some people thought that they were getting better. I think that is something that you could, again, a fair conclusion to make after the prior 3 games. Obviously, the thing Thanksgiving game being the biggest one, as well as shutting out the Eagles through. Again, the Eagles offense has been very good, but for 2.5 quarters there to come back in that game. But I think that was a little bit of an overreaction in terms of how good they actually are. As you guys saw, DeMarvin Overshown didn't have his best game. He wasn't bad, but again, wasn't as effective. Siobhan Revel, there were definitely some rookie moments for sure. Obviously, the Isaac Tesla touchdown being the main part of that. But for the Cowboys, they still have a really good shot to bounce back next week against the Vikings. And again, that is at home, and there's really no excuse for them not to absolutely just trounce them in that one. Again, I'm not expecting them to put up like 40 points considering the Vikings defense has been playing very well this season, but that's a game that they should win by a lot. But again, you look at the Cowboys, it's going to be very tough for them to make the playoffs. They don't have the head-to-head over the Lions, and the Panthers have already beaten them. Those are just 2 huge games they lost on the road that I don't know if they'll be able to recover from. Again, even if they do win out, it doesn't look too realistic for them to win, because even if the Packers, realistically, you want the Packers, yeah, you probably, no, well, let me think about this. They lost to the Bears. You probably want the Packers to lose. They got to lose both to the Bears. That's I think the best possible scenario if you're a Cowboys fan. Because yeah, the Packers have the Ravens too. You're gonna need them to lose those 3 games just to get the amount of losses you have and you get win out. And I think then maybe you have a shot to get in. It's gonna be very hard for this Cowboys team to get in the playoffs, guys. That's all I'm saying. Because and again, the Eagles could continue to suck win, but again, you look at this Eagles team. If they just win their next 2 games, if I'm not mistaken, they do win the division. No, let's see, 3 games. But yeah, the Eagles just have to go 3-2 in their last 5 games. And I'm not acting like the Eagles' schedule is exactly the easiest. But you can see the schedule. There's no reason they can't win 3 of these final 5 games. Like these 2 again, they're gonna win one of these at the very least. They're gonna win that. So again, they're just try. They have to go to either LA on Monday night or Buffalo on Tuesday, and then really again we get 17 Sunday. I'm gonna say this is the game they clinched the division in, if I had to guess. But these 2 games right here in this game, these are all games that they should be favored in. Again, they could definitely drop one of the Commanders. This Commanders team I think is a little more sneaky than people want to say. Why is this at 5 o'clock? I don't know. This is just not right. It's what the hell? Let me see. Let's check the ESPN schedule, NFL schedule for Week 16. I was not aware of that. Do you have 5 o'clock? Yeah, you do. 5 o'clock and 8:20. What a geek time for that. Jesus. 5 o'clock for Eagles Commanders, 8:20. Again, that's Fox is a week 6. Again, we'll get to that when we need to. But again, that's I've never seen an NFL game at 5 o'clock. I've seen, again, 8:20 is the standard, but 5 o'clock is pretty interesting. Do we have any update on, again, just going to cycles here, any update for Sunday? Again, this will probably be released after week 16. But anyway, back to this. You guys can see the Eagles schedule. It's very manageable for them to win 3 of the last 5 as long as they don't choke. So Cowboys, that path doesn't look like it's going to be very likely. So yeah, this is going to be really tough for them to get in the dance. We'll put it like this. This game was a must-win, and they just didn't get it done as their defense reared its ugly head once again despite this offense. Even though they did lose CeeDee Lamb, still probably doing enough. But again, at the same time, when you go 1 for 3 in the red zone and aren't able to finish off drives, it's really not. You can, again, obviously your defense is the main blame here, but you got to be able to finish off those drives in a game like this. But for Dak in this game, his 2 interceptions. The second one he threw it in traffic. First one was definitely a little bit unlucky. I don't think it was the greatest ball he threw or the greatest timing, but at the same time, that first pick really wasn't his fault to set out again to start set the tone for that second half. But again, the second one again just threw in traffic. It was desperation there. He did take 5 sacks. The pressure was relentless by that Lions front. They had one of their best games I've seen in years out of them, especially for a group that obviously isn't exactly the most deep. Dak threw for a crap ton of yards, though. As you guys can see, CeeDee Lamb, before the injury was going off, he had a monster 37-yard deep ball catch. Ryan Flannery, he showed up. Again, the 42-yard touchdown definitely was a little bit skewed. It was definitely a blown coverage, but still, he had a monster game. He's a guy that I think has just definitely emerged for this team. Jake Ferguson, again, definitely didn't have his best game. He poorly blocked a couple inside zone concepts. Again, when they tried to get man-to-man with those dive runs as well, he didn't do a good job with that either. In the receiving game, though, again, I think he had a decent game, but still at the same time, that fumble was definitely bad. George Pickens, again, if you saw his route against, I think it was DJ Reed there to end the first half, kind of tells you what his game kind of went like. Probably one of his worst games of the year by definitely a decent margin this so far there. Running game really wasn't utilized the best. Again, when they got down by a decent amount, was it 27-9? You really didn't expect them to do that, so I'm not going to get hammered down too much on that. But honestly, this offensive line, I think, blocked up somewhat well in that sense. But obviously, the pass protection personnel definitely wasn't up to what you might have thought it could have been in this game. Defensively, again, there's a lot of breakdowns they had. Again, DeMarvin Overshown, kind of talked about him already. Siobhan Revel, again, definitely had his worst, definitely had a rookie game. Deron Bland, I think, was somewhat decent, just wasn't making a ton of plays. James Houston was definitely really good. He had a nasty sack. Very talented player, but obviously he really hasn't been able to put it all together or anything together so far in his career. A couple of guys, ineffective players. Marquise Bell really wasn't doing anything in this game. Osa Odigizua kind of got completely manhandled on some down. Obviously, you're not used to seeing that. Quentin Williams was very good, though. He had 4 tackles, and he did get some pressure. Kalen Carson, I liked what I saw there. Denver Ziraku, maybe 3 pressures and 2 actual wins up front. That was definitely a rough game for him. Then Kenny Clark, I think, did do a good job, too, against the run. But overall, you look at this Cowboys defense, scheme-wise, they didn't really seem to be like completely together, and the fact that again, a guy like Oso Odigizua, when he was out there, wasn't doing a lot was an issue, and the linebackers overall definitely had an off game. On top of what is it called, a secondary that really struggled to contain these receivers in terms of the yardage. Jared Goff just dealt what he was supposed to. Threw a 9-yard touchdown, didn't really make any mistakes in this game. I like the sack he took. He might have missed 2 throws, but overall, guys, again, Jared Goff probably one of the more clean games he's had all season. He was very, very good. With the running game, again, David Montgomery getting 6 carries. That was definitely a little bit on the lesser side of that, but again, considering this offense didn't really run a crap ton of plays, you're going to kind of work with that. But again, he has a 35-yard touchdown where he broke away, breaking a couple tackles. Again, that's one of the types of runs you're used to seeing out of him. Jameer Gibbs, again, not really effective on the ground, but he got in the end zone 3 times. Effective red zone rushes are never a bad thing. Obviously, though, 7 catches for 77 yards. That helped out the fantasy this week. Amon-Ra was very good after the catch. Jameson Williams even better, so he is just continuing to be that better and better as a more consistent receiver. But on that, though, Isaac Tesla had a touchdown. Or Tesla, my bad. Defensively, again, Alquan Muhammad had 3 sacks. Absolutely monster game from him. Again, a lot of the pressure wasn't by him. Again, I can't like completely give him credit there. But he obviously had his best game of his season. Aiden Hudson recording sack. It's, again, I think the tie for his career high with 6 pressures in the 4th quarter / overtime, something like that. Derek Barnes had a, no, that might not be true. Whatever, he had a lot of pressures in 4th quarter. You can see Gigi Reed and Derek Barnes both had picks. A fumble recovered by Brian Branch's defense forced a lot of turnovers. Again, the Cowboys, though, despite outgaining the Lions, were not able to, again, be as efficient. I think that was a huge thing with this game. Again, the Lions going 4-5 in the red zone was probably the biggest difference in this game, despite running, 19 less plays. But overall, guys, you look at this game, again, the Cowboys defense kind of reared its ugly head, as I've talked about. And again, that's probably the reason they won't make the playoffs. It's going to look very, very difficult for them to get in. But again, at least if you're a Lions fan, you're saying this was probably our best win of the season. But other than that, guys, that's all I have from you guys from Thursday night. Again, a lot of things to talk about with this game considering the magnitude of it. But I'll have you guys, my predictions sometime tomorrow. I hope they come out somewhat early. I'm going to try to grind that out. But again, Sunday predictions will come out again with the last week of the byes before we really get things going, because week 15 is going to be monstrous. And then week 16, we'll probably get some answers in terms of who will be representing, maybe I won't say division, no, actually next week 15, we'll be getting some answers on who's going to be maybe winning a division. But other than that, that's all I got from you guys here. I hope you guys enjoy the rest of your night, and I'll see you all tomorrow for the predictions for Sunday.
Shot in regulation.
Right. Reeves, there he goes. Reeves to James, kick it, corner, Rui, the winner.